everyone, and welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Fraggle Hole podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we watch A Muppet Family Christmas 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Ryan Rowe.
I'm your other host, Anthony Strand.
And I am your Christmas gift, special guest, Joe Hennes. Hello.
Aww. And today we're watching minutes 31 and 32 of A Muppet Family Christmas, in which Doc heads out to look for Piggy and Kermit and Robin find a Fraggle hole. We pick up here with Doc responding to Kermit's comment that he has never met Miss Piggy with, "Well, we never met any of you on a little while ago, and now we're friends." No, I have that right, don't I? He says we never met any of you on a little while ago.
Correct. And I was wondering, is that a Canadian expression?
That's what I wondered too.
So I reached out to our good Canadian friend, Grant Harding.
Our Canadian consultant.
Multiple time previous podcast guest. And
Great.
He said, not that I'm aware of, and then followed it up with, maybe it's an Irish or old man expression.
Maybe it's specifically an Irish Canadian old man.
Wait, where is Grant from? Is he from Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto. Same as where Fraggle Rock was shot and where this was shot.
I don't know where Jerry Parks is from, but maybe we should have asked Louis Perlman as well, or another Tough Pigs writer, who is from Calgary. So maybe this is more of like a West Canada thing.
Wow.
I tend to forget that Louis is Canadian.
Yes, because he lives in the United States of America.
Well, right, that's the difference, is Louis does not live in Canada currently.
Right,
so
yes.
We still think of Grant as being a great white North guy.
Right.
Right.
Louis is more of a going to visit his parents in the Great White North kind of guy.
Right.
Yes,
right.
exactly. Yeah, he says, Sprocky and I were going to spend Christmas alone, but this is better. And thus, Doc's character arc in the special is complete. He is now completely on board. He considers himself like a part of the Muppet family. So nice.
I love
great.
the story arc that Doc goes through in the background of the special, where he shows up. He's like, I wanted a quiet Christmas, just me and my dog, and his little hair flop going over his face. And now he's just like, oh, like, I love you guys so much. I'm going to go out in a winter storm.
In the worst storm we've ever seen.
Pig?
That I've never met.
Yeah.
But you know what? It actually would be really fun to spend Christmas with a house full of Muppets. I think that could warm anybody's heart. Mm-hmm. So he asks Kermit what his friend looks like, and Kermit says, well, to begin with, she's a pig. And Doc completely matter-of-factly replies, well, up to a short while ago, I would have thought that strange. And then he just turns to leave, which Jerry Parks is kind of, by default, the straight man in this special because he's surrounded by Muppets, but he does get a few decent laughs, too.
Yeah, that's a good line. That's a good line.
That's a good line, yeah.
That's Doc's The Heck You Say.
Right,
right.
Exactly.
Doc easily could have pulled out a The Heck You Say, and we would have been like, that classic running gag from Muppet Family Christmas, The Heck You Say.
Yeah, that would have worked for Doc, yeah. He opens the door to head out, and the snowman pops his head in and says, you'll be sorry, it's cold enough to freeze your Winnebago.
Yeah, that's so
and
good.
Doc kind of chuckles like he's appreciating the callback to his earlier line in the special.
I also appreciate the fact that the snowman is actually seen on the back porch where Fozzie left him.
Yeah, that's where
nice little bit of continuity there.
Continuity, wow.
Love it.
So,
you love to see it.
Then Robin calls Kermit from the cellar. He's made a discovery.
But before that, as Doc walks away, Kermit says, what a sweet guy.
Oh, yes.
Which is great.
Very nice. He is a sweet guy.
Do you think years later Kermit's sitting around going, that Doc was such a sweet guy, I should call him?
Yeah,
I hope so.
I hope they exchange numbers.
Yeah,
I hope they met up for brunch every once in a while.
Yeah, whenever he's in town, Kermit's visiting in Toronto. It's like, let's call my buddy Doc.
Wherever this is.
Or the desert.
Yeah, he moves out west,
Yeah.
Oh, right, yes.
At
That's
the end.
Fraggle Rock continuity.
You love to see it, that continuity.
Robin asks Kermit, remember telling me about Fraggle holes? Kermit says, yeah, so... Robin says, and how if I ever found one that we could go into Fraggle Rock and maybe meet some Fraggles? There's kind of a pause, and Kermit says, So? Does it feel like there's a line missing here or something?
Yes, it's the weirdest line delivery Jim Henson ever had as Kermit, I think. Like,
yeah.
this whole special is so tightly scripted, and then Kermit's up here like stretching out his lines as though he's a 7th grader who forgot to research his presentation that he's giving today.
Right, well, because, the one line is, yeah, so, and then the next line he says, so?
It's so weird. So we talk about quoting this special. Roz says that all the time, by the way. Like, independently of context, I'll say something and she'll just be like, yeah, so?
So here's my theory about why Kermit's being so weird in this scene. I think at some point, he was telling Robin about Fraggle holes, about this mythical thing called Fraggle holes. And Robin was like, hey, if we find a Fraggle hole, can we go inside? Can we explore the cave? Can we go meet some weird creatures? And Kermit's like, that would be totally unsafe, but like they're not real anyway, so I'm just going to say yes. And so this is like Robin being like, hey, I found a snipe. Can we go kill it? And Kermit's like, I mean, I promised that we could, but I didn't think the snipes exist. So
remember when you told me we could kill snipes? Yeah,
so like if Kermit could actually put his finger in his collar and stretch it out, I feel like that's what he'd be doing. Yeah, I guess.
Or maybe he knows that Fraggles are real, and for some reason he's been sworn to secrecy. Like now he's worried that Robin thinks that this is a Fraggle hole because he's like, I wasn't supposed to tell anybody about this, so he's nervous about it.
In what context do we think Kermit told Robin about Fraggle holes?
I wrote an entire article on toughpigs.com positing the theory that the Muppet Theater is a conduit to a Fraggle hole. And
yeah, I remember that. I read that one.
Yeah, I won't go into all the details of like why my theory makes sense, but it does. And so
it's like the nexus of all realities swamp in the Marvel universe.
Sure, says a guy who doesn't know what that is. I know. I think that there was a Fraggle hole in the basement of the Muppet Theater, and Kermit is well aware of what Fraggles are, what Fraggle holes are, et cetera, et cetera. And but I love the idea that like the Kermit also knows that this has to be a secret because Fraggles don't want, like they're kind of afraid of the outside world of outer space, and like they don't understand all this stuff. I can see him like kind of confiding in Robin, but like also putting it in the context of like, oh, this is like a fairy tale.
Mm-hmm.
Then like for Robin to actually find one, because like they're obviously really rare. Like Kermit probably never expected Robin to find one.
This is the first one Robin has ever found.
That's right.
Right, and also supporting your theory is that Kermit totally does a double take when he sees.
He does. He seems like, oh, what? Yeah. So maybe, like, oh, there's one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Fozzie's mom's basement.
Of course.
Yeah. No. So that's the next thing is, do we think Fozzie's ma is aware that this hole in the wall in her basement leads to like a magical world of Fraggles and Doozers? And if she kept going, that she would find the Gorg's garden.
Love to imagine Fozzie's mom meeting the trash heap, by the way. So I hope so.
That would be great. It's too bad the trash heap's not in this. I understand totally why the Gorgs, like that would be impossible for the Gorgs to be in this, but
they didn't get one doozer in this thing.
Doozer.
Yeah.
Well, like, and I guess we can get into this in a minute once we actually get into Fraggle Rock, but I don't think that's a set. Like, I think they must have already broken down all the sets.
No, yeah. So they do. So Kermit says that they can go in just a little ways into this Fraggle hole, and then yes, here we are in this lovely cave. The lighting changes at this point, which it's a really nice. Yeah,
can I just say it's actually about the lighting. So like. Mm-hmm. It makes you wonder when Kermit and Robin see this giant hole in the foundation of this house that they, by the way, that's a really big hole and there's a lot of people in that house like this. And it seems like it's a load bearing wall. Like this whole house is coming down one way or another. In any case,
especially with so many people inside.
That's exactly what I'm saying. There's a lot of weight up there. So what is it about them seeing this hole that makes them instantly realize this is a special hole and not just a hole in the wall? This is not just giant rats. And the obvious answer is that there's these glowing lights kind of coming out that are the same lights that you see when you go into Fraggle Rock that are kind of like shining on the rocks, like these really pretty blues and purples I don't know, like there's like this weird aura about a Fraggle hole that
Yeah.
makes it different from a regular hole. I've never really thought
And
about
maybe
that.
this is a little, yeah, and maybe this is a little bit too fairy tale, but maybe there's something about Robin being a child and like his childlike wonder guided him to it. I don't know. Maybe kids can find Fraggle holes easier than adults can. It took Doc long enough to realize that Fraggles were real.
Yeah.
So
This is just like Lock and Key.
yeah, there you go.
That's a comic book, kids.
That is a comic book and also a Netflix series, which is not as good as the comic book, but still pretty good.
Well, what is good as a
But read
comic
the comic
book?
first.
Nothing's as good as a comic book.
No, nothing is. It's true.
I've never read it or seen it, so
Oh. Well,
You should.
start with the comic.
It's pretty good, Anthony.
Yes.
all right,
So
I'll put it on the list. It probably is on the list.
There's an episode where one of the in the Netflix series where one of the kids is watching Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. So
I heard
Yeah,
about that.
You told me that.
little bit of synergy there. A little bit. That's bringing it back to Muppets.
Synergy
you know?
for a canceled show.
That's right.
It was good though.
Great, thanks.
It was a good show.
Age of Resistance? Yeah.
People should still watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should watch Age of Resistance, and Netflix should change their mind and renew it for a second season.
Yeah, those puppets haven't aged. They could do it. Like
Yeah, they could do it.
they could do it in 12 years, and everyone would still look the same.
I heard the puppets they started gaining weight because they're not working so much and it's a pandemic. They're not exercising.
In the pandemic, they let themselves go a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, the Skeksis were making a lot of homemade sourdough.
The Mystics got really into sea chanties. It was weird.
Soon will the Wellerman come.
What is this podcast about?
Hup was eating things with his spoon. All right.
So, it totally becomes Fraggle Rock. The lighting changes. We hear the familiar, like cave water dripping sound from the show. There's this music that kind of is like this, like, going into the place that evokes a sense of wonder. Yeah, like Anthony alluded to, I don't think this is a piece of the Fraggle Rock set from the actual production. It's definitely not one that's familiar from the show, like the Great Hall or Gobo and Wembley's Room. I think they probably just made this one little set that looks like Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, because like I said, all you need is like some like walls that kind of look like rocks, and then to shine blue and purple light on it, and then it's instantly recognizable as Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, it looks good.
You were talking about the aura of sound that's kind of in the background, and like as they walk in, Robin says something like, "Oh, it's kind of scary in here," and I feel like the other thing about Fraggle Rock is like Anthony said before, it's like the Muppets go from like this fun world into like, oh, there's a little bit of existential dread in this room. It's like, it must be Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, that's how you know.
That's how you know.
Every emotion is felt deeper, or everything that happens is an opportunity for some like really deep life lesson.
Well, and like the actual risk of like, oh, we might die, because they're afraid of death on Fraggle Rock, and they are not afraid of death on the Muppet Show or Sesame Street.
Yeah, well, like there are, some, because we listen to Fraggle Rock song. I think I've told you guys this. Miles wants me to sing Dixie Whalen
Great.
as a lullaby all the time, which is a song with a lot of death in it.
Yep, it's a funeral dirge. Yeah.
And it's a funeral dirge, and he wants me to sing Terrible Tunnel all the time as a lullaby.
That, I think we've talked about that before, possibly on the podcast. I can't believe that, because Terrible Tunnel scared the crap out of me when I was Miles' age.
He loves it, and he sings
And older.
along. At the end, Miles always goes, "All ye Fraggles blubbo, for he'll not be home again." Every time, like, so excitedly. And so, like, but my point is, those songs and others just remind me, like, how much they really do, like, how much existential dread there actually is on that show. It's like, because when you think about that show, I don't think you think of it as being, like, overwhelmingly bleak. Like, it's not The Wire.
No, the tone of it isn't like everything is heavy and terrible and death is coming for you. It's just, when we think about the show, yeah, it's Fraggles singing and dancing and
Right, but then you
fun
still,
things
like,
happening.
To name yet another example, you got Gobo saying, "I know that no one's made of steel. I sometimes think that nothing's real." Like, that's just a line from a Fraggle Rock song.
Yeah.
And
You know
then
what I
he
mean?
looks
It's
directly at the
wild.
viewer through the camera and like reaches out to touch you, and then and then you
Are
feel
you
cold
real?
suddenly, like you can see your own breath. It's really scary how they do that. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's Muppet magic.
Wait, that
you know?
happened to you too? I thought that only happened to me
It's
when I
just-
watched that episode.
Jim Henson was a genius. I don't know how he was just
Yeah.
ahead of his time.
So innovative.
Gobo is Animal Man. All right.
Yeah. Should we explain that reference? Go Google Animal Man Grant Morrison if you want to know more about
Comics
that.
are great,
That is
everybody. Comics are great.
That is a reference we've also made on this podcast before. Because I
Yeah,
remember
we have, haven't we?
our guest was Jess Evans, and she was incredulous that you and I both thought of Animal Man, like for the same
Yeah.
thing. It was like someone looking at the camera in one of the movies.
Hi, Jess.
Right.
Jess, who's definitely listening.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Yeah. We love Jess.
Of course.
Yeah, so Kermit and Robin are speculating about whether this is Fraggle Rock, and then we see Boober peeking out from behind a rock in the background, and Wembley pokes his head out too, and then Kermit turns a corner, and suddenly he's face to face with Red, and then he turns around and there's Gobo, and then Moki comes up and joins the crowd. They're all there.
Right before that happens, Kermit says, "If I were Fraggle, I think this is the kind of place where I'd hang out." Which is a really weird thing to think when you don't really know anything about Fraggle Rock.
Well, see, this is why I think Kermit actually does know
He must.
even more than he has let
Yeah.
on to Robin.
Yes.
So yeah, I
That must be
love
the case.
I love the shot of Kermit like looking around the corner, and Red is also looking around the corner, and they surprise each other.
Yeah, it's great.
But then it's like this moment of like, oh my gosh, and then he freaks out at Gobo behind him, but Gobo is stiff as a board. Like,
Oh, really?
Gobo is barely moving. He's just like, yep. What are you gonna do about it, frogs?
Right. Although, like, I kind of like that. It feels very much like Gobo being like, "This is my house. Who are you?"
It
You know
does.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But like in a meta way, it's like, oh, it's because Jerry Nelson's puppeteering Robin, and like the other
Right,
puppeteer,
right.
yeah, didn't have the guts to like do anything that Gobo wouldn't do, so he had Gobo do nothing.
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because all the other characters really are like probably being performed by their original puppeteers here anyway.
Yeah.
So
I would imagine
it's not like they
so.
gave Gobo to Dave Goles for this shot.
No, Dave was probably busy with Boober.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Although, like, really, it's the first time we ever talked about any of these guys on this podcast. Like the Fraggles, I mean, like, they aren't in the. None of these guys have been in any of the movies. They weren't in a celebration. Of 30
Traveling
years.
Matt makes a cameo in Muppet Caper, which we talked about that a
in
little
Manhattan.
bit. Manhattan. Thank you very much. Yeah, but we haven't had an opportunity to talk about them much. But I love the Fraggles.
They're the greatest. It's the
a good
greatest
show.
TV show ever made. Like, it's
They-
like for real. I can never decide if I like it more or less than the Muppet Show. But there's
Yeah.
there's no loser there. Like
No.
they're both perfect.
And they're very different from each other.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
a variety show versus a musical comedy
Adventure program. Yeah.
adventure, yeah. So all the Fraggles have gathered around Kermit and Robin. Kermit says, "Hi there, you're Fraggles." Wembley says, "I'll say." And Red says, "But you're not."
Wait a minute. He just shouts out, "Hey, you're Fraggles!"
He does.
Like that's like if you met someone and they were just like, "Hey, you're a human."
You're a human, yeah. You should do that the next time you meet somebody.
I'll say.
And I'll say,
Yeah. Yes. So then Red says, "But you're not," and Wembley says, "I'll say."
So when I was a kid, this was, I think I've said this already. This was my introduction to these characters.
Yeah.
Like the Fraggle Rock cartoon just was on this same year on another network. It was on NBC. But this is the first time Fraggle Rock has been on American television. You know what I mean? Like these actual puppets on
Like on
television-
network
on network
broadcast television,
It's
yeah.
on HBO.
Did you watch the cartoon?
No, I've still never seen an episode of the cartoon.
Yeah, I just sort of never really saw the point of the animated series. Like, why not just show Fraggle Rock on
Right.
ABC or wherever it was?
Yeah, I mean, it has
CBS,
some
I don't
talented
know.
voice actors in it. Gobo is Townsend Coleman, and Boober is Rob Paulson. So it's like two of the Ninja Turtles, right? The original series.
Yeah, I
Ninja
mean,
Turtles. That's cool.
it's fine, but Fraggle Rock is right there.
Right. But anyways, what I was gonna say is this was the first time I ever saw these characters. I was certain that "I'll say" was Wembley's catchphrase.
Right.
This special gives you the impression that that's all Wembley ever says. You know what I mean?
That is almost all he says, yeah, in this sequence. So, although as we will find out soon, his real catchphrase is actually
That's true. Which is more accurate.
Yeah. So it also occurs to me that it must have been so much fun for Jerry Jewell to get to write the Fraggles one more time.
Yeah.
Because we established that this was taped after Fraggle Rock had totally concluded production, right?
Must have been. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it must have been it must have been fun to write them one more time. Kermit explains to the Fraggles that he and Robin are frogs. Gobo says, "What's a frog?" And Moki kind of giggles and says, "They're frogs." And that is where this clip ends.
Well, we have to point out the fact that the Fraggles have seen a frog before, and I understand that they wouldn't recognize Kermit and Robin as frogs because they saw a real frog in the episode Space Frog Follies.
Right, it's right there in the title.
Right.
And they address it as a frog, so like they know what a frog is.
Yeah.
But they also, Kermit doesn't look like a real frog. Like I get it. I get why they would be confused.
So that's true. They don't look much
they
alike.
don't,
So
they don't
remind
talk
me, in
and
that
stuff.
episode, do they immediately know that the frog is a frog, or do they have to figure it out?
I have to go back and check. I seem to remember they call it a space frog, but I do have to go back. I apologize if I'm getting that incorrect because it's been a while since I've seen it, but that's my memory of it.
I've only seen that one once too. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the Fraggle Rock people were ever very concerned with, does it make sense for the Fraggles to know certain references and things from outside of Fraggle Rock, especially in the songs, as we have talked about on the Tough Pigs forum many times. There's references to taxes, like death and taxes, and
right. Usually it's just death, right?
But this isn't a reference to the outside world. This is a reference to a previous episode of Fraggle Rock. Like, they didn't sing about a frog. They met a frog. And now they have conveniently forgotten that they met a frog as they meet these new
Unless
frogs.
this episode takes place before... this special takes place before that episode.
Well, that's a possibility.
Doc doesn't know what Fraggles are. He hasn't met them yet, at least. We know that, so...
So it definitely takes place after Manny's Land of Carpets and before Space Frog Follies.
Why do you think that this has to take place after Doc met the Fraggle, or before Doc met the Fraggles?
No, it has before he meets the Fraggles.
Yeah, why?
Because of the scene where all the Muppets come in and he asks Sprocket, "Tell me, are these anything like these Fraggles you keep telling me about?"
I'd forgotten about that scene because I always think of at the end. This is a spoiler for later, but like at the end when they're all singing the big carol sing, and the Fraggles are there, but they're conveniently behind Doc, so like.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of ambiguous of, like, Doc doesn't know they're there. He's not, and Sprocket doesn't see them, you know? There's no, like, oh, hey, it's my friends that I met that hang out with me in the desert.
I guess maybe because Fraggle Rock was still in reruns, maybe they just decided not to...
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, to place it at that...
I'm not going to think about it too hard.
At that time.
It's very much like in Follow That Bird. Follow That Bird came out the summer before the adults saw Snuffy, right?
Right.
The movie came out in the summer of '85. Adults saw Snuffy in November. In the movie, Snuffy only shares scenes with Big Bird, but like there's no adults can't see Snuffy content. And as a kid, I had no idea. So I feel like they must have designed it so that once he became visible, it would play fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right, because there are no adults in that scene at all, so there's no way of knowing whether the adults would see him or not see him.
And he sings a trio number with Big Bird and Olivia. They're all in different locations. But like when I was a kid, it's just like, yeah, Snuffy and Olivia, they know each other. Who cares?
Yeah,
you know
it
what
works
I mean?
both ways. Yeah.
So we can probably cut all that out. But anyways.
No, it's fascinating. Too bad Snuffy's not in the special.
The only other thing about this scene that I really love, well, not the only thing, but the one thing that I love about this scene is you can really hear Jerry Nelson enunciating the voices of Robin and Gobo, so that like because they're so similar, like he's like leaning a little bit more into the Canadian part of Gobo, he's leaning a little bit more into the childlike version of Robin's voice, so that we can hear, like, these are not the same voice. They are very different.
They do sound different. Yeah, Gobo's voice sounds more, and I mean, I guess it's sort of ambiguous what ages the Fraggles are, but Gobo sounds more grown up than Robin.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you guys are saying, but this isn't going to happen yet until after, it's right before the frogs leave. There's a moment where Gobo says, "And that's the way Fraggle Pebbles work." And then Robin says, "Hey, I love it." And when I listen to this on the soundtrack, it absolutely sounds like the same person saying, "That's the way Fraggle presents work. I love it."
That's the way Fraggle presents work. I love it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They don't sound very different.
Both characters are excited.
I think they do in
but
this moment that we're looking at with these 2 minutes.
Yes,
that's what I'm
yes,
talking
I agree.
about.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's using his acting skills and vocal skills to differentiate the characters.
Right. Which again, he's the greatest.
Yeah.
As far as like vocal versatility among the Muppet performers, I think he's the greatest by far.
Yeah. Man of 1,000 Muppets. That's the end of the clip. Any final thoughts on these 2 minutes?
I've said all my thoughts.
Very
I have
good.
no more thoughts in my brain.
Joe, I believe you are coming back one more time tomorrow.
God, I hope so.
We'll see you tomorrow.
I hope so too. Yeah. So, listeners, we hope you will also come back tomorrow as we continue to talk about the Fraggle scene in A Muppet Family Christmas on another episode of Movin' Right Along. Yeah, so
I'll
say.